Hi, everyone, and welcome back. We are continuing our conversations with the contributors of Awakening, and I'm so excited to have Tamala with me today. Hi, how are you?
Hi, I'm really good, thank you. How are you?
Good. So first off, tell us where in the world you're joining from.
I am from a little town called Denmark. It's not in Europe. It's in the very south of Western Australia. Every time I say that, people go, "Oh, you're from Europe." It's a very small little town at the very bottom of Western Australia. It's a little alternative community, very beautiful, lots of forests, beautiful beaches, gorgeous.
Amazing. And what time is it for you? It's Friday for you?
It's Friday morning at 9 a.m. What about you?
Yeah, so we're Thursday at 7. I always love when I'm coordinating with the Perth area because it's like, oh wow. I mean, we get to stretch this, span this, and I have to tell you, my boys are pretty excited too because normally, they'd be down here and we'd be eating dinner, and I said, "You're in luck. I've got a call, so you can go play one video game, and then I'm going to call you down."
My kids do that too. They go, "Do you have to work now, Mum? Can we watch TV?" And I try and do like, no, there's books and there's it. But sometimes when you're doing the lives, yep, TV's okay.
Oh yeah. Actually, the last one that I did of these, my son walked in the live and asked if he could play, and I said yes. And when I came out, Derek said, "Did you actually say yes? I don't believe that." And I go, "Well, he did ask when I was live." He goes, "Oh, he asked you under duress."
Yeah, and they know that. They know to ask you the questions when you're on a call. It's like, yeah, yep, sure, whatever you need.
Yeah, eat all the chocolate,
Eat the
do
chocolate.
all the things.
Jinx.
Oh, we have the same life.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, Tamala, tell me what you wrote about in Awakening and why did you choose this topic?
Good question. So I have this affinity for feeling high, and that came from, a childhood of being brought up in a childhood of domestic violence and alcoholism and infidelity, and then in my teenage years, because of the trauma, in my childhood, I was seeking happy highs. I was seeking ways to feel happy and safe and secure. So enter sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and I found myself a new religion. So, I very much went down the road of experimenting with drugs and altering my perception and feeling as high as I possibly could, which was all fun and games at the time. But obviously that starts to have the come down and the fallout and the dysfunction because it's not natural, and there's a cost to playing that game. And so on my road to recovery from my own addictions, I ended up as a drug and alcohol counsellor, believe it or not, and supporting a whole lot of other people in their addictions as well. But I still had this desire to feel the best that I possibly could. I still had this desire to feel high and happy. And, I'd experienced that, so I missed that. And so a big part of my work now is supporting others to learn and to bring into their lives the art of detoxing. Because for me, that is one of the ways that I've learned to feel really high and really clear and really connected to God and the universe and my intuition, which has all sorts of incredible fallouts in your life. And it's like, you know what? There's a lot of happy high seekers out there that may not have necessarily found the road that's going to become functional in their lives. Like, it's entirely possible to feel really good, to feel really clear, to feel really high, and be functional in that and reap the rewards. There's no cost to that. There's benefits to that.
Yeah.
So the whole chapter is about how to do that. Yeah.
Oh, I love the way you describe that. It is very true. We're all really just seeking. We have a deep desire to feel good, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it plays out in different ways. We reach for things that we believe will accomplish that. So tell me a little bit about, because I know when, everybody sort of thinks a different thing when they hear detoxing, but I think for most people it's like, oh, she's going to deprive me of the good stuff. So how
Yes.
on earth do I feel really good doing that, right?
Yes, absolutely. And look, I've done those type of detoxes. I've done water fasts, I've done juice cleanses, I've done that. And not to say that they aren't great, because they are, like, you know, they are next level, and I definitely dive into that form of detoxing myself. But my detox program is actually called Detox Without Deprivation, because I have to put it in the title so that people will go, oh, what is that? What does she mean? Can I do that without depriving myself? So it's entirely possible, yes, to detox without a sense of deprivation. So the way that I teach detox is about adding in first. Before we take anything away, we have to add in, because otherwise we are depriving ourselves. Yeah. And there are many different elements to add in. And not going into it right now, because you'll have to go and read the chapter. But what we ultimately want to do is get addicted to our good, happy hormones, which is oxytocin. Yeah. And the nature of addiction itself, at the food or the alcohol or the wine or the social media or the spending of the money, that's actually what it's actually doing is stimulating our stress response. So when we say we have addictions to these other things, when we go down and underneath, it's actually an addiction to fear and stress. So if we want to go and start to detox, what we want to do is add in anything that starts to produce oxytocin in our life. And so those things are connection to self, connection to others, connection to earth, connection to spirit. So these connecting activities, they're actually the happy highs as well. We want to start to bring them in on top of our to-do list and flood ourselves with oxytocin, so that we're actually drowning out the need or the addiction to that adrenaline cortisol, because our cells actually become physiologically addicted to adrenaline and cortisol. Our whole entire society's become hypervigilant. We're go, go, go. We've got to-do lists. We're pressuring ourselves. We're addicted to our inner critic, to that self-sabotage, to the procrastination, because it all gives us a rush of adrenaline and cortisol. Every tiny negative thought that we have about ourselves or someone else produces a tiny amount of stress hormones. So we're slowly drip feeding ourselves stress all freaking day, and we are entirely addicted to it. So what we need to do is crowd that out with oxytocin producing activities. So in my program, we spend a good couple of weeks bringing those other activities in. And then once we start on the detox itself, the food detox part of it, it's actually all about bringing in, I was going to say, can I say shit? A huge amount of really nutritious, incredibly high-vibing food. So, we have juices, we have salads, we have soups, we have nuts, we have, there's actually even a chia pudding in there. Like, there's heaps. It's a vegan diet pretty much for 7 days. So once we're at, there's actually no ability to get hungry on this detox that I teach, because there's so much food. But yes, we do take out the caffeine, the alcohol, we do take out the meat, the processed food, the sugar, all of that goes. But we're flooding ourselves with what our body is actually really hungry for. And along that journey, we're still adding in all of these beautiful connection activities. So I teach my clients, and what I actually can do for myself is, when I go to the fridge and I'm craving chocolate or I'm craving something sweet, what I can actually do now is bring in my mindfulness. And that's another part of adding in, is our mindful awareness, because we have to be aware of the cravings and why we're actually doing these things and what we're actually missing out on. So I can go to the fridge, have with my craving for chocolate, and go, okay, checking in, craving chocolate, something sweet. Why am I craving self-loathing? Because that's exactly where I'm going to get to once I finish a block of chocolate. Or why am I craving guilt and shame? Because that's exactly where I'm going to get to in the morning when I've drunk that whole bottle of wine. So we're jumping to the come down, because the come down, believe it or not, is actually what we're more addicted to. It's not the high, it's the come down, because we spend a much longer time in the come down than we do in the high. The high might be 20 minutes, half an hour, but we'll spend days, weeks, months in that self-flagellating thought system of, why did I do that? So now that we have that awareness, I can stand at the fridge and go, why am I craving self-loathing? Okay, what does my soul really need right now? It doesn't actually need, my body is craving the sugar. My mind is craving the self-loathing. What is my soul craving? Oh my God, my soul's craving connection. I need to go and hug my children. I need to go and have a bath. I need to go and put my bare feet outside on the ground and look at the stars and the moon. And if I can start to ask myself that question and bring that in, oh my God, there we go.
Totally different game.
Totally different game. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. Actually, I just experienced this about an hour ago.
Oh, good.
The exact same thing. I had just finished, a whole day of running around doing different things, and I saw these brownies, right? And I was like, oh, those look really good. But then when I just paused, slowed down for 1 second, and I realized I didn't actually want the brownie. What I really wanted to do was to go for a walk, but it's been cold the last couple of days. And I looked out, the sun was out, and I said, you know what? Let's go, Mom. Let's just go. I put a hat on and went. And that gave me that good feeling that you were talking about. I was like, oh, that's what my body wanted.
Yes, exactly. I'm so glad that clicked for you, and I'm so glad that you're doing that already. And I'm sure many people are doing that already. What we want to do now is make that the default setting. Like, have that structure in our mind to know when I'm craving something that I know is not particularly that great for me. What is it? Let's go deeper than that. What is it that I really want? My body wants some adrenaline and cortisol because it's addicted to it. What does my soul want? My soul wants oxytocin. My soul wants connection. My soul wants a walk outside, play with the kids, having some nutritious food. But we don't ask ourselves that. So it's a hack. It's a default setting that we can go to and say, what does my soul want? And then I feed. It's about soul food. Our physical food is the secondary food. It's the secondary nourishment. Unless I'm nourishing my soul, feeding myself oxytocin, connecting with the elements and the earth and spirit that is all around me, then I'm not actually feeding myself at all. What's my soul food? Yeah.
This is so true. And I want to ask you this, because that is so true. We are witnessing a society that is starving at a soul level, yeah?
Yes. Literally starving, withering away. Yes. Yeah. And the planet is literally withering away as well. And we're all out here, trying to the best of our ability to save the planet and, to nourish and to reverse the problems, which is fantastic. And yes, we all need to do that. But unless we're working on an individual level, unless we're working on our own toxicity, our own mental toxicity, our own physical toxicity, feeding our own soul, then we're actually not going to have the impact on the planet that we want to. It has to start individually with us.
It's so true. I was talking to someone about that. It's like, it doesn't matter if my outward action seems good and, like a humanitarian, I'm missing the word, but you know what I mean? If I'm not embodying it, it's not something I actually exercise toward myself first.
Yeah.
Right. It's that missing link. And that's really the most powerful place.
Yes. I was talking to, and I quite often say it on my group calls, that because of the internal fight that we're having in our own mind, the amount that we beat ourselves up within ourselves and the amount that we judge others through our thoughts, the best way that we can contribute to world peace is to address the inner war, the inner critic that's going on in our own mind, because everything on the external is just a manifestation of our internal mind. And yet here we are going, everyone, world peace, we need to contribute, we need to rally and we need to protest. And it's like, yeah, great. But unless we're doing it in here, it's actually not going to make any difference. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So powerful. Tamala, how can people learn more, or where can they go to learn more about you and your work?
Yes. So I've got to the point now where my niche has changed. Before I was a drug and alcohol counselor and I was working with people with all these serious addictions. But where I've got to now is being the coach's coach. Like, I want to support other light workers, healers, coaches out there, doing incredible work with their clients. So I want to lift them up. you know, and we all still have addictions. It might not necessarily be alcohol and wine and sugar. It's the inner critic. It's the procrastination. It's the self-sabotage. It is the social media. You know, I want to be able to support other female entrepreneurs, leaders, women who are doing incredible work out there. And let's get you more clear. Let's get them more clear. Let's get me more clear so that we can turn up and do the work to a more potent degree. And we have to role model this ourselves. If we want to be coaches and healers, we have to walk our talk and clear more of the veils that are standing between us and our own ascension and the ascension of our clients. So you can find me on my website, tamalaridge.com. You can find me on Facebook, Tamala Ridge. I do actually have a detox program that's coming up in about 4 weeks. And I do that in my membership. It's called the Space Holders Sanctuary. So people who are holding space for others, welcome to come into the Space Holders Sanctuary. And we do a food detox twice a year. And I also, every month, we do a different theme. So this month we were detoxing on the fear of persecution so that we can stand up and speak more of our truth. So it's all about clearing the veils, clearing the veils, clearing the veils. So yeah, reach out. I would love to meet anyone who's interested in any form of detoxing, physical, mental, emotional, spiritual.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Tamala, I really love your work. And I mean, you're absolutely right. It all starts right here. It starts right here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for what you contributed in Awakening. I want to remind everyone they can pick up their copy. It's available on Amazon, and actually the paperback is now available as well. Until next time, big hugs from Colorado. I'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.